Lawrence Van Hee. She is the Chief Happiness Officer for Happy Formins, and she's going to tell us how happiness at work as an HR strategy will support sustainable performance. And for her sustainable performance, what do we have to give her? A warm round of applause.
Here to tell you a Belgian story. The Belgian story of the Social Security, which is a ministry, and I've been there the Chief Happiness Officer from 2010. Because I rebounded in my career, which was quite exponential. I rebounded there after a very deep and harmful burnout. And I made a promise to myself not to be unhappy at work anymore. And this is really a French way of speaking. We use double negative words to do something positive, to say something positive. So when I found courage, I said to myself, I want to be happy at work. And when I joined this ministry, you know, ministries, civil agencies are really heavy, and they have beautiful titles like I was the General Manager of the Business Unit Support for People and Organization within the Social Security Service, a public service in Belgium. So nothing sexy at all. And I changed it into Chief Happiness Officer, which was quite new in 2010. And this ministry I joined this is a small sample of my colleagues. You have to think about 2005. In 2005, 103,000 Belgian citizens have applied to be employed as a civil servant. And out of those 103,000 people, none applied to the Social Security. None. People were paying attention not to cross, you know, the title of the ministry. Really crazy. We had the highest rate in turnover, in staff turnover in Belgium. Civil servant with a lifelong time job were living on free basis. Crazy. And between 2005 and 2010, 40% of the staff was living and going retired. So we had to do something. And this something was to stay positive, whatever could stay. So this is from a Monty Python, very famous movie. Always look on the bright side of life, even in the darkest side of the moment in the life. And we decided to move from transformation into something positive to people. But even as a ministry, we have, as any organization, small, large, national, international, stock listed or not, we have to remain performant. There is no choice about that. If we are not performant, we cannot pay the salaries at the end of the month. But nobody is getting out of his bed to be performant. And this is a pity for the finance director or the operational directors. It's not by telling people, let's increase the sales by 5%, that people will tell you, okay, I put my alarm 15 minutes earlier to be earlier at the office. We just want we just want to be happy. And happiness is something really, really individual. So how can we manage happiness within an organization? This sounds impossible for a team of 1,400 people coming out from a burnout. So the only possibility we have is to give freedom to people. Because when people are not working, they are living, they are managing a budget, they are managing children, they are managing love relationships perfectly well, without asking their boss for any agreement. So we will give those people the same, welcome David, come on. Yeah. We will give those people freedom to pick up in the organization what makes them happy. But you can imagine the chaos we will create if we give everybody the whole freedom to decide when, where, and how they will work. So we will put two rules on the table. The first one is my freedom stops where your freedom starts. And the second one is if I'm taking freely choices, I have to take responsibility for them. So having freedom, I will cultivate my happiness. Being responsible, I will respect my engagement and being performant. And this is how we translated this awful organization in 3 years, into one of the sexiest top 3 sexiest employers in Belgium. So what did we do concretely? We proposed the staff to change completely the work environment. As I told you, we gave them the opportunity as the 2nd of January 2009 to decide as an adult when, where, and how they will work. We never told them anymore, you have to start at 9, you have to stop at 6, you have to work here. They could choose when they work, if they wanted to come to the office or not, and where they wanted to sit in the office, because there were no dedicated desk anymore for anybody within the organization, neither the chairman, knowing that in Belgium you have the king, the minister, and the chairman of the administration. To avoid the chaos, we just get rid of some of the most bullshit HR process ever, which is setting individual objectives. It costs you, for a team of 100 full-time equivalents, it costs you in euros, and sorry for the translation, but it's almost the same in US dollars, it costs you almost 200,000 euros a year just for 100 full-time equivalents to manage the process. There is no return on investment on giving individual objectives and appraising individual objectives. So, to avoid individual selfish freedom, we ask the team to set up objectives together, as we are colleagues, not competitors within the team. And would it be individual or collective objective? Doing that, yearly we increase performance by 20%, just by changing this process. So we had as well to change the leadership style, because leaders had a completely different roles. They weren't there to command and control anymore. They were there to give a vision, to give enthusiasm to the team to work together. We decided to build a culture based on trust, but it's not because we trust people that we do not monitor the results. So we were monitoring not only quantity and quality of work, but also the attitude that you use to do the work. Because if you don't have the attitude, if you are just a Brian jerk, which we ask to move to the finance ministry, to be in family, if you have Brian jerk in your organization, this is impossible to build something strong and sustainable as a team spirit. And the last job of a leader is to put his team or her team in a situation of success. If the team is successful, the leader is considered as successful. If not, we will manage the situation. Doing that is a kind of revolution in the administration in Belgium. But we went further. We also worked on the work environment as such. Usually, you are no more than 63% at your desk on a daily basis, in average. You are in meeting, you are in conference, you are sometimes sick, you are sometime on holiday. So a third of the time, you pay an office and a desk for nothing because it's empty. So we decided to offer 7 desks to 10 people, but 7 different desks: project management desk, concentration and focus desk, conversational desk, relaxation desk, whatever. So you had a desk for the task to be performed, and no more because you were someone high in the hierarchy. To be sure that it went smoothly, we co-created our values. We do not believe in the direction in the executive committee to go on team building, to have a very nice moment together and to come back to the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, we had so much fun. We had very good food, very good drinks. We danced a lot, and the 5 values for the organization are, it doesn't work. So we ask everybody, what is important to you to perform your job and to support the missions of our ministry? And based on those 5 values, like respect, trust, solidarity, personal development, and a strong sense of result, we translated them into behaviors. And as the team are setting the objectives together and setting the KPIs based on quantity, quality, and attitude, attitude is the translation of values, the way we want to live and work together. We also redesign all the processes based on EX and UX. And we use a lot of co-creation as well. We did what we call the kissification. You know this KISS, keep it simple and short, or stupid and short. We made 4 S's. It has to be simple, simple for the user, because if you do something nobody understands, this will be a mess. It has to be straight to the point. If you want to go from A to B in the alphabet, you go from A to B. You don't go from A, the all letters of the alphabet, and B. And administration is really strong to go through all letters in a mess to go to B. You have to make things sustainable, less paper, less energy to sign the stuff. Trust people. It's much more valuable to them and for you. And finally, let's do something sexy. If you are doing and thinking about things that are boring, do not expect people to use them. And sometimes in human resources, we are the chief of boring stuff. So this was my only stempel in the administration. Normally I had plenty of, but the team used to work with that. This is the first version. And every time they asked me to sign something which was not or sexy or sustainable or straight to the point or simple enough, I was just using it, this stempel with the red ink, and send it back to the people who was requested my signature. And I didn't tell the person what was wrong, because I was maybe limiting his creativity. I just send a message. I'm here if you do not understand, but do something. So we get rid of plenty of rules without any purpose or sense. We also, so amongst the bullshit HR stuff, we also invest a lot into happiness at work. And in Belgium, in the administration, if you are requesting people or managers to invest in their team's development, we give you the dictionary of the skills. We gave you what we call the taxonomy of the available jobs. And we gave you what is available as job, the cartography of the available jobs within the whole administration. How would you like to manage people's development with that? We are Belgian. We love French fries. French fries come from potatoes, so let's develop a 3 potatoes model. First, potatoes. Ask people what they love to do. This is a kind of ikigai, but quite different. It works really properly in a corporate environment. What do I do well? And it's not that easy to find the answer. I need to get feedback from all the people I'm in work with. Secondly, what is useful for the organization? Because in our organization, we had a lot of people doing perfectly stuff and nobody cares. And then, what do you love to do? Because if you do well, what you love to do, and this is not useful to the organization, it's called hobby. That's an entertainment. And it's not necessarily done during your job. If you do well, what is useful, you don't like to do, this is a job. This is a routine job. You just came for the paycheck. It's not a problem. Millions of people are doing that. The only thing is that if it's lasting too long, people will fall in a routine, quality problem, engagement problem, health problem, and so on. But your potential, where you need to develop, is what you would like to do and is useful, but you don't do it well now. Answering those 3 questions, this is the key of the people development. And we need to put people at the center of it. I do well what I like to do and what is useful for my organization. And there you will cultivate happiness at work. Then, as from 2010, we went digital, we went in the cloud, knowing that the network of the Social Security is handling any kind of data linked to any Belgian citizens. You go to the doctor, we know it. You go to the pharmacist, we know it. So you can imagine how many times we are attacked per week just because of our data. We made a summer school in 2011 about Facebook, Twitter, Yammer, LinkedIn. How can you use it? How can you deal with it to keep track with your colleague and the citizen? And of course, we impulse a different kind of leadership. And we wanted to go from this kind of chef to not this one, but we really wanted to change the culture because we were losing people. We weren't attractive. We had so many problems to attract and retain people. So we proposed the managers to have a 180 degrees, and they were the sole owner of the report. They had the freedom to do whatever they wanted with it. But if there were a problem, they were responsible to do something. And we went on co-development. We are not teddy bears, absolutely not. So if I take the framework of what we did, is this equation. Behind freedom, we put flexi place, flexi time, flexi roles, and flexi tools and services. You could choose anything in the organization to develop what we called the wonderful ways of working together. Behind responsibility, we develop entrepreneurship, allowing teams to set objectives, learning from mistake, the art of feedback, and a lot of co-creation. We develop the sustainable performance, putting on focus on impacts, on deliverables, allowing people to know what how and what they deliver, and having an ongoing monitoring and being able to set your own sustainable KPIs. And finally, behind happiness, we manage values, culture, inspiring leadership, team dynamics, and collaboration, co-creation, co-design, whatever approach. Concretely, if you give freedom to people, you ask them for responsibility, it brings performance. We decrease, for example, our renting cost by 12 million euros a year. We decrease the maintenance cost by 50%. We decrease the paper cost by 84%. We always stayed in touch with our unions, so no strike days. We entitle 92% of the staff to work from home up to 3 days a week. We improve productivity by 20%. And on happiness side, we decrease absenteeism by 26%, turnover by 75%. 1 out of 2 leaders was a woman. You don't have to choose between your woman career, your mom career, and your manager career. New part-time were taken by young dads, by divorced dads, and by grandparents. We went in 3 years one of the sexiest employers in Belgium. Average age, 48 and 7 months, and almost 40% of the population was between 50 and 59. We are not a company of geek people. You will meet a lot of resistances. I think I'm going out of time. Okay? 2 minutes? Okay. If you do any kind of transformation, you will always find the 5 same resistances. Some of the people have the 5. They will do the Grand Chelem. Some of them have 1 or 2. You will find people who have a depth of certainty. We have always worked like that. Why should we work otherwise? Because the world is changing. We have new technologies. You will face fears. And you have to be really kind to people who are scaring the change. You have to help them to put what is scaring them on the table so you can manage it. You will feel social pressure. You want to change, your boss doesn't want to change, your team doesn't want to change, the team close to you don't want you to change, because if you are successful, they will have to change as well. At home, we don't want you to be engaged in a transformation process because it will request time and energy from you. You will have limiting beliefs. You know, we have heard about a very nice story from a Belgian ministry, but hopefully we are not Belgian and we are not civil servants. So it's super over there, but that's impossible to us. This is not the idea. The idea is really to find what could inspire you and make it true within your reality. And the last one is the ego. This is a very famous Swedish guy, Zlatan. I forgot his name. And you can have the ego of the top management, the ego of the people who are there for 25 years, the ego of the people who have such a large amount of degrees. We have all an ego. But we need to move from a personal ego to a collective ego, to be proud to succeed together, and to learn to rely on your colleagues, and to be there for your colleagues too. And therefore, you have all what you need. You are all courageous people. You have all taken the courageous decision in your life. This is exactly the same courage. You are all sincere people. You do not lie to your beloved one. This is exactly the same level of sincerity our colleagues need. You are all humble people. You do not crush the ones you love by your knowledge, and you dare to request help. That's exactly the same in the organization when we transform ourselves. And you are all generous people. It's not a question of money, it's a question of smile, of availability, of listening, truly listening to the beloved one and also to the colleagues. 2 messages to me retain. Are you happy at work? If yes, don't change anything. If no, next question, do you want to be happy? If the answer is yes, you have to change something. If not, you need to stay as you are. If we did it with Belgian civil servant, everybody on earth can do it, truly. And this is from a French doctor, something which is really inspiring me. Happiness is the only wealth that gets doubled if it's shared. Thank you very much.